How are you guys doing today? Now today's video is going to be pretty short because, this whole journey this year is trying to find ways of presenting to you comparisons between, our ancestors from the 1700s up until today. And today's video, there's really not a whole lot that I can cover in regards to historical aspects. We certainly have those needs, but those needs weren't really met that well before really the 1980s. Now, stick with me. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. Technology advanced way before the 1980s, and we certainly had things that kind of did something similar. We tried to meet the needs, but overall they weren't really all that effective until pretty recently. Now, today's video focuses on emergency blankets. And in the 1700s, they didn't have emergency blankets. Heck, we were having trouble keeping our troops equipped with just regular wool blankets that would be single man wide. We're not talking about, a two-person blanket like a queen size blanket or anything. So having the basic necessities and our forefathers, what they had to deal with just minimal gear is so impressive. And it goes to show the tenacity of human nature. So if you don't have the equipment, the clothing, the material items or whatever, then you have to adapt and adjust. Oftentimes that really relates to fire in the cold weather. If we are cold and we have to worry about hypothermia, if we have to worry about frostbite and succumbing to the elements and getting sick and things, we gotta rely on heat and regulating our temperature as best we can. Now, I know a lot of you are more modern people. So like haversack is a common word today. Before, in the 1990s, like 1998, 99, I never heard the word haversack. It's something that was unknown to me. But when I talk to various young people, thanks to, bushcrafters out there, thanks to movies and series like Alone, haversack is starting to come back in our lexicon once again. Now the haversack or bread bag goes way back. I've talked about the haversack so many different times every time I show you a new one. Today's video is not about a haversack per se, but I do have my brand new linen haversack for my 18th century impression. And I'm starting with the haversack because if you are going on a day hike, you're probably wanting to take as little as possible, unless you're training, right? So having a haversack or a small bag, even if it's a small day bag or one of those cinch sacks or whatever, that size, that's what I'm talking about. So you need to think about space. Well, in the 1700s, they didn't have emergency blankets, right? So I'm going to open up my 18th century backpack here. Rubber was starting to get used, but the problem with rubber historically speaking is that it wasn't very pliable. You usually had to add things to it to make it pliable. So adding rubber to blankets and being an effective use wasn't really around until about the 1850s, thanks to Goodyear. So they did have rubberized items. They had painted items, which we talked about before when we were discussing ground cloths, which, as an update, as promised, I just want to let you know that I have canvas here, I have a patch of jeans here, and I have cotton t-shirt. And like I said, I also had my my painter's cloth. And I put 4 coats of boiled linseed oil on there, and after 4 coats, I can say even the t-shirt is waterproof. So water does not go through this. That being said, what you put against your skin is something you have to take in concern. So if you go through this process, you're probably not going to want to use modern boiled linseed oil. Thank you, Sarge Vining, because I share a lot of stuff with Nathaniel and Sarge, and he made that point clear, which is a good point. And I think he said it because I was put it on cotton t-shirt material, and he thought I was going to wear a cotton t-shirt coated in this stuff. But that was just to kind of go through the different weaves and thicknesses of materials just to see how much boiled linseed oil it would take. 4 coats, that's all, right? Now, is it going to be durable? Probably not. But when we're talking about waterproof and we're talking about heat retention and things like that, what people had back then, like boiled linseed oil, like waxes, etc., durability-wise, that stuff's not very durable compared to rubberized coating. Now today we have space blankets, which is Mylar. I mean, that's all it is. And Mylar became more widely used and widely known thanks to the space race, right? And NASA and other countries participating in that. We have Mylar blankets. We also have Mylar balloons, which are very durable. So I went online and I picked up this. This is from Amazon, and it came with 3 of them. I opted to go with a sleeping bag instead of a space blanket because nothing else, I could cut the edges. But I'm thinking, if it's an emergency, if I really have to stay overnight, do I want to deal with a blanket and trying to, you know, cover up with all those holes and things like that to stay warm? And my answer for myself was no. So I got a Mylar emergency sleeping bag. I haven't tried this yet, and I'm not going to for you. But it is a large size. I'm 6'1". Now the problem with these things are, especially in an emergency situation, you don't want to use these in a regular camping situation because your body needs to breathe. And condensation is one of those things that can kill you. And being able to breathe fresh air, because a lot of times, especially in the cold, we have a tendency to cover up our heads. We don't want to die from breathing our own carbon monoxide. So we have to allow air, fresh oxygen, to escape out of our body and allow that condensation to evaporate, because at the end of the night, we're probably going to come out of this sleeping bag pretty wet, pretty damp, because none of that condensation is escaping. That's why it's for emergency use only. It's not something that you actually want to use unless you absolutely have to, waiting for rescue or waiting overnight so you have daylight to escape or what have you. Emergency only. Emergency only. So there you go. So in the Campcrafters Guild, we've got challenges, weekly challenges. This was this week's challenge. Some people posted some other examples of reusable emergency tarps and things like that. So if you are interested in participating with us on this challenge every week, then go on www.honorableoutfitters.com/join the guild. We'd love to have you on there and talk to you. And we'd love to see you sharing with us as well. And, you know, if you haven't already, it's not too late to get your own Press and Mess Kit. This Press and Mess Kit is supposed to show up by the end of May. God willing, you know, none of the world events is going to stop it. Right now, everything is still on schedule. For $200, what you get is a plate. You get a skillet, like so, and this all locks into place so you can use it as a skillet. You get a large cup or pot, like so, and this folds in on itself. It nests inside the can, or over the canteen. The canteen is 54 ounces. All this is going to be made out of 316L stainless steel. One of the coolest parts for me, just like an emergency blanket, you want to have double use and things. You can combine the plate and skillet to make a container, make it a baker, or what have you. I just love that feature of it. And when we do go camping, we always try to think about extra uses. So even if you're not going to use the Mylar sleeping bag or Mylar emergency blanket, you know, covering yourself up in an emergency situation, you can use this in other situations, just as water carrier. You can use this to help you bake or cook with when it's emergency, because of that reflective material. There's a lot that you can be creative with, and absolutely could make a shelter out of it. So what do you use? What do you carry in your haversack, your backpack, your cinch sack, or in your pocket, dangling at your belt? What do you use when you go out hiking, just in case something goes wrong? I'd love to see your guys' comments below. If you're interested in the Press and Mess Kit, in the description box below, you'll see a link, and it, like I said, it costs $200, and you have to pay for shipping, and it gets shipped to your door, and it should be here by the end of May, so you'll be able to use it for your summertime adventures, early summer. So if you like this video, please click like, because we really appreciate it, and it helps other people find it, helps this channel, and it really does help. So thank you so much for those of you who do. Now, if you'd like to see the video about the Press and Mess Kits, then check it out here. If you'd like to see a video about various other camp crafting items, then check it out here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.